This is my newly modded Nintendo GameCube. It can run custom firmware, region-free games, cheats, and much more. And it was all done with this, a $3 microcontroller. Today I'll show you how to hack your own GameCube, as well as everything else you need to get started. This is the Raspberry Pi Pico, a $3 microcontroller. You might recognize it from other projects, as it's basically the most popular board used for this kind of stuff, mainly due to its price tag. It's been used to hack the PS4, Xbox 360, Switch, and now the GameCube. This is all thanks to an open source project called Pico Loader. This project lets you turn your $3 Pico into a fully fledged GameCube mod chip. Originally, to install this, you'd need to use wire and solder to points on the motherboard and then the Pico, and then route the wires without trapping them under the disk drive, and ugh. Thankfully, there is a much better way to install this Pico now, and that is with the Pico Loader flex cable. This flex cable not only makes the install much safer, but makes it way easier to install too. Instead of soldering directly to the motherboard, we're simply going to insert this flex cable into the original disk drive port. So without further ado, let's get started. To begin, we will of course need a GameCube, a Raspberry Pi, and the Pico Loader flex cable. We also need two M2 5mm screws, and one diode with a value of 1N5819. To mount the Pico inside the GameCube, we also need this 3D printed part, which screws beautifully into the console to hold the Pico. So, we've got all of our parts, let's install the mod chip. To begin, we need to take the GameCube apart and remove the disk drive. So make sure that you have the correct bit, and also that your driver is thin enough to get into this gap. Before we write an angry letter to Nintendo, the rest of the screws inside the console are fairly standard, with most of them requiring a Phillips head to unscrew. I'm sure this process has been documented thousands of times online, so this won't be too detailed. But basically, it's the security screws to remove the top housing, then Phillips screws on all sides of the disk drive. Once they're all removed, the drive simply pulls up and unplugs from the board. Now this black port is what we want, as this is where our flex cable will sit. We need to bend the flex cable into a W shape so that it is small enough to slide over the connector inside of this port. It's going to be hard for me to explain how to fold this cable, but if you follow the clip, you should have no problems. Once it's pushed down into this port, make sure that the left side of the cable is folded inwards, and that the top and bottom of the cable are also folded inwards so it doesn't overlap with the heatsink. Once yours looks like mine, reinsert the disk drive, ensuring that the flex cable sits nicely in the gap between the drive and the metal base. It's also important to make sure that the flex cable is being seated inside of this long plastic piece. I didn't do this properly, so it meant that I had to redo this process. Next, grab the 3D printed mount and put one of the original screws into the right side of this part. Today's video is sponsored by JLC PCB. JLC PCB is the cheapest and best way to get your PCBs printed professionally. They offer lots of customization on PCBs, including the colour of the silkscreen, thickness of the boards, and lots of other things that you need to make your PCB perfect. They offer a top-notch quality service at low, affordable prices. They also offer 3D printing and CNC machining, making them the perfect solution for all of your project's needs. Go to the link in the description below to get your PCBs professionally printed today. Big thanks to JLC PCB for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. It's at this point that we can screw down the Pico using one of our M2 screws. The screw holes on the mount align with those on the Pico and the flex cable, so we must make sure that they're lined up before we insert our screw. I like to begin with the top screw and then do the bottom one. Make sure to not screw these in too much, as doing so could snap the 3D printed part. As long as the Pico does not move and feel secure, it's been done properly and you don't need to tighten it anymore. The design of this mount means that the Pico lines up perfectly with the flex cable, so soldering it in is really easy. To solder it in, I'll add some flux and flow solder onto each pin from the Pico to the flex cable. On a side note, I get lots of comments asking what soldering tools I use, so I'll leave some links in the description below to my iron, solder and flux and any other parts which I think might be useful for projects like this. Once we've soldered it all up, it's important to clean up the flux with some IPA, not only because it's a sticky mess which is going to attract lots of dust and grime, but also because it can be corrosive over time if we don't remove it. Now there is one more thing to solder, and that's the diode. To access this point, remove the right hand screw from the bracket, flip the Pico outwards, and then insert the screw into the left side of the mount. Once we have access to the back of the flex cable, add some flux to the two pads, and pre-tin one of them with some solder. Grab your diode, and solder in the first leg to this point. It's important to get the correct polarity of this diode, and on this board, the side of the diode that has a grey line must match up with the line on the flex cable diode symbol. Once that leg is soldered, go ahead and solder in the second leg. Once that's done and the diode is secure, remove the left screw for the last time and reinsert it into the right side of the mount. Now we can insert the original left screw back in, and the Pico will be secure against the console. And that is our Pico fully installed. Now it's time to reassemble the console and slowly come to the painful realization that we've lost some screws and it will never be the same again. Firstly, reinstall the fan and make sure that it's plugged back in. And then put all of the screws surrounding the disk drive back in. And finally, reinsert the ribbon cable for the front controller ports. The last thing we need to do is flash the Pico so that it actually acts as a mod chip, because currently the board is just blank with no firmware. To do this, plug in the Pico to your computer whilst holding the Pico's button. Now we need to head over to the Pico Loader GitHub and download the latest firmware from the Releases tab. Once we have the UF2 file downloaded, drag it over to the Pico just like you would with a USB drive, and it will disconnect from your computer. To test it, simply plug in the GameCube and press the power button. You should now see the modded boot screen. If it worked, then congratulations, and you can fully reassemble your console.
Okay, so with that whole process completed, we now have a fully jailbroken Nintendo GameCube. In my opinion, this is the best way to mod your GameCube and bring some life back into this old console. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below if you've tried this on your own console, and be sure to let me know how it went. I also want to mention that I do have a brand new shop, so if you go to TheModSmith.co.uk, then you can buy lots of parts like modded consoles, PS4 jailbreak discs, and the flex cables for this project. So if you do want one of the flex cables, head over to TheModSmith.co.uk, and as always, the links will be in the description below. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.